Hello,
Hello, guys, and
guys.
welcome to our YouTube channel, The
Welcome
Folson's Tube.
back.
If today is your first time of coming here, you are very much welcome.
You're welcome.
Please subscribe to the channel and take a look at some of our videos. I'm sure you find something that would be of interest and helpful to you.
Definitely.
So what's happening today?
So today, I'm sure you can see from the thumbnail already what is going to happen. Yeah, from the thumbnail and from the title that we are going to interview a really special person. Babe, let's do the drum roll. His name is, you know already, but you know, we are so excited. His name is Chorkor Millionaire. Guys, it is said that do not criticize a man until you have walked a mile in his shoes. Now, we had the opportunity to interview Chorkor Millionaire. He's making a great impact in the social media space. And so we got to really talk to him to understand why he is doing what he is doing. Guys, he comes from a background. I'm not going to go ahead of myself, but I can identify with his background. Boys are bred, girls are bred. And so it's really impacted him, and he's determined to make an impact in his generation. So guys, if you love Chorkor Millionaire, if you love what he's doing to help the African continent, youth, you know, youth who are stressed, who are depressed, who want a better future for themselves. If you love him, if you love the Folson's Tube, you love our content, what you do, if you love our relationship with Chorkor Millionaire, hey, this is the time to watch this exclusive interview. So you know what to do. Stay tuned.
Okay, people, we have the one and only Chorkor Millionaire here with us. A round of applause, round of applause. Wow, what a privilege to be able to interview you on our channel today. And thank you very much for agreeing to come on and just tell us a bit about yourself. Help our viewers, and then we'll get to know a bit more about you. So we're going to go straight into it. And I think the first question that I'm going to ask you is, what is the history behind the name Chorkor Millionaire? Because, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Chorkor is like an area in Accra, which is the capital of Ghana. And it is known to be kind of like a rough neighborhood, right? And there are like a number of vices which go on, but then also it's notorious for, or let's say it's well known for producing a lot of vices. So people from Chorkor are known to be like us, you know, very aggressive. Can you tell us some history about the name Chorkor Millionaire?
Oh my guys, nice to connect with you. You guys are like my one of my favorite couples out there. So keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate you, and thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be here today. Chorkor Millionaire. So that name, I came up with a name when I was looking for a suitable name for my Facebook channel and my YouTube channel somewhere last year in May. I had done a video, and the video was shared by a page, a content creator shared my videos, and then it went viral. So people took interest in me, and then they wanted to get more. So I decided to create my own page and post my stuff there. And in a bid to come up with a name, I struggled with it. I was doing all these, fancy, names, and then they were not really making sense to me.
Yeah.
At some point, I sat down and I'm like, what name do I come up with? And then I think the spirit just dropped this and say, but you grew up in Choco.
Wow.
People think of all the negative things, associate negative things with Choco, like you said, right? It's not the best of areas to mention in Accra, a very tough area, a very rough area. People think of Choco as a slummy area, a place where all people do is fishing, and So this is where you grew up from, right? Like somebody said, can anything good come out of, right? So that was for me, my Nazareth. I'm like, okay, let me just use the name Choco. Right. And then the millionaire, technically not to say I have $1 million sitting in my bank account right now.
It will come.
That's where.
Exactly, I received that. It is a mindset. It is where we are heading. It is the way we think. It is the speed with which we move. And it's just that can do story that look. Even though we come from abject poverty, even though I come from poverty, was raised in an environment where there was just nothing, right? Me too, I will get there some, and we are there. We're on our way. Yeah. So Choco is the background. The millionaire is the destination.
Nice.
Yeah, Choco, I think it's really clear that you and I have so many things in common. You mentioned poverty, that you come from a really poor background. I also come from a poor background, and today look at where you're sitting. So can you tell us a bit about what your experiences were like growing up in Ghana? What were some in Choco? What were your struggles like? How did you get here?
Charlie, if I want to talk, it's a long, painful experience or a story. And as I was born into a very big family. My siblings count. Sometimes I have to sit and do a bit of plus and minus to see if I'm on track. We could probably be a little over 10. So maybe on a safer side, I could put it around 14, 15, thereabout.
Wow.
Right now, there is a possibility I haven't even met one or two of them yet. But my mother's side, my mom being the first wife or first woman to give birth, to get involved with my father, we were 4. And I'm the first son out of all the children of my father. I'm the first, but I'm the second born. The first son, but then the second born. So the first is a female, and then I come after the female, right? So a very big family. We didn't have it. My dad didn't have the best of education. He finished in what we call middle school. Those times you call it JSS. That's where he got to. And same with his own father as well. Never had a chance to go to school. So he was a hustler. In the 70s, he was one of the people who went to Nigeria to go and hustle, right? When Nigeria was doing
Agege train.
and then he went there to go and hustle his way out there. And then from there, came back to Ghana and then met my mom. And so, kids came out, and then Chorkor Millionaire was born in the late 80s. So yeah, that's the story of the beginning. I was born in Mipom, M-E-P-O-M. Now, Mipom is a small town in between Adesu and Asamankese. Adesu and Asamankese are probably the bigger towns in the eastern region, okay? So that was where I was born. I probably grew up to about 8 years old, 8, 9, thereabout, before I moved to Accra. Now, my moving to Accra was because I was a bit of trouble growing up as a child. I was causing trouble to my grandmom. So my late grandma would call my father and say, come and take this your boy away. He's causing too much trouble. So my father, who was at that time hustling in Accra as a driver with a very small, retailing company, decided to come and take me and then move me to Accra. So I went to Accra, and then they put me straight in school, class 2, primary 2. I never went to primary 1, straight to because of they said I was too old. So they took me straight to primary 2 in Choco. So that was where the story started. But before moving to Choco, I had briefly stayed in CMB, a place in Accra called CMB.
I know CMB.
You know CMB. So we're there in a kiosk. We slept with somebody, there was somebody who hosted us briefly there once my father was looking for a better place to move us. So we stayed in CMB for a while. And then from CMB, we moved to Choco. He found a place to rent in Choco, and then we moved to Choco. And that was where he was doing his driving job. And I went to Choco Presby Primary School, did my primary education there. I could barely speak Ghana at that time. Remember when I arrived there, everybody was just going at me like, Kwe.
Please, what's the meaning of Kwe? Please, do you mind telling our viewers what's the meaning of Kwe?
Kwe is just like a way of
calling your attention.
That Charlie, it's like a Charlie,
Yeah.
It's like a slang that goes like, hey, Charlie, hey, you, like, hey. It's like the hey, man, or like, hey, buddy. It's pretty much like, hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. So everybody was going at me like, Kwe. It's a Ghana slang, by the way. Yeah. And I was like, it's like everybody's called Kwe. That's my name, or something like that, right? Then later on, I came to know what it meant. So anyway, that was my baptism to the Ghana language. And then as kids, as I was like, you learn fast. So I was able to pick up the Ghana language pretty fast in school. And yeah, so that was the journey. I went to Choco Presby. From there, went to Polygonal 3 JSS, Polygonal 3 JSS in the Manprobi area. Yeah. And did my 3 years there. And then from there, I went on to Accra Academy for my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, blow. I wanted to go to Presec. I had applied to Presbyterian Boys Secondary School. It was my first choice, and Accra Academy was my second choice. And I had Laboni Secondary School as my third choice. So Laboni picked me and gave me science. Accra also picked me and gave me science. And then Presec gave me visual arts. So I'm not going to do visual arts. I want to do science. I wanted to be a pilot. I was so obsessed about being a pilot, right? I wanted to do science. And then for some reason, my name was visual. I said, no way, there's no way I'm going to do this. And I tried. I went to Presec. I wanted to change the program and all of that, but I was told, hey, man, you can't change it. So I left. And then I said, let me go take a tour and see what was going on at Accra Academy. I went there, my name was there. And I remember I didn't like the school. Like, I had heard this thing about the boys at Accra Academy. Boys, these boys are stubborn, they cause a lot of trouble. So I didn't want to have anything to do with Accra Academy, even though I selected Accra Academy as my second choice. Then this gentleman that I spoke with, D. Raw, if he's watching me today, I want to give him a special shout out. He was my senior from GSS. His name is D. Raw, that is his nickname. This guy said, you know what? Accra Academy is a very good school. Go. In fact, he said it's one of the best schools in Ghana. It's the best business school, so I should go to Accra Academy. It's all right. I'll go give it a shot. So I went there, and during the orientation, my name was in the science, list. So everybody was expecting us to process and then go to our science classes and then pick our classes and all of that. And I was going, I felt like, man, but they said this school, it is the best school in business. So why I go do science for them? I just, instead of going this way, I just went this way. And I went in and I blended in and wrote my name into the register. And once that name entered the register, nobody would think that I became a business.
Okay, because I wanted to ask. Yeah, because I wanted to ask
you were
about
from
that.
The arts background, so I was like, wow.
No.
Wow, you did something.
Like initially I wanted to do science, but then when I went to Accra Academy, remember I said I wanted to be a pilot.
Right.
Now, when I went to Accra Academy, D. Raw, who told me Accra is the best school in business, I just felt it made sense to do what they were really good at. So I said, you know what? Let me switch from science and go do business, since this school is known for business.
And then what was going to become of your dream to become a pilot? Did you consider that?
Very good. As teenagers, our dreams are very fleeting. Our ambitions are very fleeting. Yeah. So today you could want to be, I had experienced those kind of fleeting changes in ambitions. I wanted at a point to become a medical doctor because I thought it looked very fancy being a doctor with your stethoscope, right? Then I fell in love with being a pilot because I also like what the pilots were doing, and then Jerry John Rawlings being, the late Jerry John Rawlings flying around and stuff like that. Right? So I said, you know what, it would be cool to be a pilot. And then I went to Accra Academy, and then I guess the recognition and what Accra Academy was looking for also made me just have that change. So yeah, dreams keep changing until we are man enough to say this is what we want to do, isn't it?
Yeah. And Choco, I have a question for you. I mean, I know how challenging it is to come from a poor background. So here is Chorkor Millionaire. You were in Choco, you say you went to Choco Presbyterian Primary School or something. How did you gaining admission even into Presec and then Accra Academy and then Bonnie too tells me that you really got good grades, like you are intelligent. So how were you studying? Was it easy for you? Were you hungry at some point? How did you get the good grades to even be accepted into all 3 schools?
I think I was naturally just intelligent. I didn't struggle to learn. I never went to your normal creche. I never did that. Never went to kindergarten, but I skipped primary 1. But I just felt that for me, being very studious just came naturally. I didn't struggle to do it. I always wanted to be the best. So I looked at those who were way better than me, and then I always pushed myself to be the best. Right from my primary 2 in Choco, I had always had that edge to be among the best. or to be the best. So being in primary 2, primary 3, I became the class prefect, primary 4, class prefect, all the way through to primary 6, when I decided that I wanted somebody else to do it. I wanted to stay back. So then Eric Mate, one of my mates there at that time, became the primary prefect there in class 6. And I went to GSS, still became the class prefect from GSS 1 all the way to GSS 3. So people never liked me. A lot of my classmates never liked me because I used to write their names of talkatives.
Double punishment.
DP.
Yeah, DP. There were some names that from GSS I knew if I was going to pick my book to write names of talkatives, this girl's name, Alice Mensa, was going to be there. Gloria Adi was going to be there. Grace Saba was going to be there. And you just knew that these girls would talk. You have to write their name in advance. So I guess to answer that question again, I was just naturally I didn't find it difficult to learn. It was just something that came natural. So maybe it was just my gifting from God to use as an escape from the poverty. Because I realized that was the one thing I was so good at. I had affinities for other things. I was playing football, but I wasn't the greatest. I wasn't the best. I wasn't the most gifted, but I was just trying to play football. I wanted to be a winger. I played with Mighty Victory, a small team in the Manprobi in that area. Mighty Victory, also known as Fatah. I did a Justify with them and all of that, but I just knew that schooling was my thing, right? So, and it's not like something that ran in our family, to be honest. Siblings all struggle. Probably the one person who had something resembling mine will be the very last born of my mom and dad. My mom and dad, we are 4, right? So the very last born, Joe, I call him Joe. He probably was the one who was flashing that same brilliant, but he never had a chance. Right from primary 3, 4, his education was cut short. In fact, none of my siblings were able to make it beyond primary. My sister couldn't make it beyond primary. In fact, she stopped maybe around primary 2 or primary 3. The one who was after me also couldn't get a chance to go. And then the very last one, and then not just them, like almost all my siblings, they never had a chance to cross, say, a primary level to go to GSS and from GSS secondary school. I would say I am the only child out of my parents, out of my father and my mom, and then my father's children, right? Out of my father's side, that actually went as far as secondary school.
Wow.
How serious it is, right? So it is something that I see to be like maybe a gifting from God, that God wanted to use that to break the chain
of poverty.
So I never struggled. I was on top of my class most of the time, and and represented my district in a science, technology, and mathematics education in 2000 and what year was that? 2003, 2004. There was a project that we did, a science project workshop that was done, and a whole competition. I was selected to go and represent together with another lady the entire district. So I've always tried to distinguish myself. And I think that came natural. It came natural.
That's good. Did you have any challenges with, like, paying school fees and getting money for like textbooks and all those kind of things because of the background in the situation you found yourself in?
Challenges, it was just normal. The stress was just normal. Like coming from a family where education is not a big mainstay, from extended family, your uncles, your aunties, it's not like people just don't want to go to school. People want to go, but there is no means, there's no opportunities, right? It's tough to even dream of going to school. So for me, I kind of had to jump mountains and jump all the loops just to be able to make it to school.
Jump mountains.
Right from primary, I used to wear tattered uniform.
Oh.
Right, my uniform, my shorts, the back will have these big holes, like somebody's eye, like big holes in the back. I used to patch them up, mend them again, and people used to laugh at me, right? I couldn't buy books like to write in. I never had books. I used to be sent home, class prefect, I'll be sent home just because I couldn't afford my books and my textbooks. School fees, paying of school fees, what we call tuition here in Canada, was a big deal. Now, think about it, in Ghana, we have government schools or public schools, and we have the private schools. Now, private schools are more expensive, and of course, the quality of education there is one. Now, government schools, nobody really pays attention. You just get mass produced, and then you go through the system, right? But even with that, I still struggle with school fees.
Wow.
Yeah.
From primary, I struggle. I used to, not just the school fees in the textbook or the supplies. I used to struggle to even eat food. What's food? So during my break time or recess, I have to sometimes go home and see if something was going on at home, so I could eat it. Come back. Or I used to just go and patch with my friends. When I say patch, just to go and scavenge on their food and parasite a little bit.
Parasites.
Can I have a bit of this? So right from primary school, there were guys that I remember so well. Isaac Sam, who still follows me on Facebook. We've connected recently. Primary school, I used to have guys like Emmanuel Asiedu. I'm not sure where he is right now. And these guys, I used to go to them like break time. I would just go and patch and beg them. In secondary school, the same thing. In JSS, like when I was in JSS as the class prefect, as brilliant as I was, everybody just knew that this guy was just brilliant. I used to get nickname for just begging people for food during recess.
Wow.
People used to laugh at me. In fact, there was a time I remember this, I once went to a kinky joint just across from our GSS, Polygon 3, KG3. And there were friends of mine who were eating, and I went to stand by them and I was asking them if I could feed or if they could invite me to just have a bit of their kinky. And then some of my friends were mocking at me, and then they even nicknamed me Credit Union. Credit Union means that I was always borrowing food, borrowing stuff from people, and girls, when boys tease you, you can deal with it. But when girls tease you, it's so painful, right? It sticks.
So girls too were teasing.
They used to. I remember they used to. The girls, there were girls like Alice. I'm not going to shame Alice. I used to write her names. Maybe it was a way of getting back to me. There were girls like Alice and Gloria Addy and who would just sit like a choir and then would just scream credit, and then the other union, and then they would just tease me for my lack. For them, they were just having fun at me, but psychologically, it taunted me.
Yeah, because I was going to ask how it affected your dignity.
Like, think about it. You going to school on an empty stomach, no food, not because your father is so evil, but your father just doesn't have it. Right, and there is no help. You know how it was in Ghana. You could barely go to a government institution to say, you know what, I need this or I need this, a place to go and eat. You literally had to go. You were not fasting, but every single day was like a fasting, like a Daniel fast or whatever fast you do. It's big. It was really, really, really tough. Like the toughest one that I have that probably had the biggest impact on me that could have actually make me or break me was in secondary school. I had gained admission to Accra Academy, and I wanted to be in a boarding house. You could either be a boarding student or a day student. Border, you're on campus, you're sleeping on campus, and then when school vacates, you go home. Then as a day student, you always have to commute from home to school every single day. I couldn't get into a boarding house because I couldn't afford the tuition. Now, around that time, the tuition was what we call 60 Ghana cedis today, 61 Ghana cedis.
Can you imagine?
61 Ghana cedis today. That was, I remember so well how much it was. 61 Ghana cedis. I had to pay my school fees of 61 Ghana cedis to enter Accra Academy in 2004. And I didn't have it. My dad didn't have it. We tried everything. My dad didn't have it. Wow. So I called my teacher from JSS, my friend teacher, Mr. Uriel Anyable. That man loved me. He was more than a teacher. I called him and I said, sir, do you mind if I come to your house? He said, yes. He was living at Radio Gold in between Kolebu and Mamprobi Kolebu Carnation area there in Accra. So I went to his house, I went to meet with him and I explained to him that I've gained admission to Accra Academy, but I can't afford the fees. And he did his best. He gave me part of it. He didn't give me all, but he gave me part of it. And I went and hustled and I went to places and, somehow I managed to pay a part of it. And then I was allowed to register. Now, around that time, I honestly believe my dad never had the money. But there was something beyond the money that I think I yearned for. I yearned for from my dad that I didn't have. And it was the emotional love and the presence. So hear me out, parents, today. It is easy to say you don't have the material things to give your children.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you can give your children, which doesn't cost anything, is your physical presence, your physical love, the emotional love, the psychological love. Now, at that time, as a child who was going through all of this, gaining admission, look at the joy. People were having their parents drop them at school. People were coming in with their parents, and you were alone. Nobody from the family was with you.
Wow.
You were just by yourself. You don't have the school fees. You have to go chase, go beg strangers for the school fees. And on top of that, you don't even have any member of your family, not your auntie, not your uncle, not your own father, not your stepmom, no single member of your family to even follow you.
Wow.
The pains that stay with us for a long time. And those are often the scars in our heart. You're watching me today, I don't want you to use your poverty as an excuse to deny your children of the affection, the warmth, the compassion.
Yeah.
There are many people today who say, I don't have the money. But what about the love and the hug that you give that child? My whole life as a student, I've never had a parent of mine attend a PTA. That's how serious it was. How could you be on top of your class? And during parent-teacher association meetings, there will be no single parent to show up to represent you. But you see, these are the emotional gaps, love gaps that children often have. And these are the things they grow in them. I'm happy today that I'm a more mature person now. So I've been able to overcome these things now. But I want you to know that these were some of the things I missed the most. I miss those moments, the presence of your father, warmth, that encouragement, telling you, son, will get through it, right? And I think sometimes it is just like getting the most out of our own parents too. Because when they don't have it, and financially they are just down, they don't know how to express it to us. They don't know how to make us know, right? So sometimes they just stay away. And by staying away, we don't make things better.
Yeah.
You can still be the poorest of person, but be the most loved parent out there. And that is exactly what I want our parents here to get today. Poverty is not an excuse to deny your children of the emotional love. It costs nothing to be there for your children. The biggest investment you can make in your child are often not a material investment. It is the time we make intentionally to spend with our children. I wish if I were to go back, I had more of that. I wish I had the presence of my father or my parents or my extended family more. I wish I had somebody just around when I need it. Those vacuums are often the things that leave scars in my heart. It was really tough, but I'm happy that I was never broken to the point where I just gave up. I was bruised many, many, many times, emotionally bruised, stressed in different ways, but God came through. And sometimes God comes through with strangers, right? That's why the book of Hebrews 13:2 says that, look, be very kind to strangers, because some of them are angels in human forms that God has sent. God has sent those people to you to shape your destiny, to take you to the next level. There were strangers who came through for me almost every time when I was down.